Okay, we're going to launch straight into it. You can see on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen is the depth and temperature, and I'll put all my shots on the bottom left-hand corner. This is all unedited, exactly as it happens, moment by moment, and all the shots that I get I'll put in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. I have a camera attached to my mask, so we're seeing what I can see. At the moment I'm just framing up the shot. You can see my left hand there, that's adjusting the focus, so the focus ring is on the left-hand side of the camera. And this control here is adjusting the ISO. I'm doing all of that manually. Down at 25 meters, there's a little less light. And you can see at the moment, I'm not using the lights on either side of the camera. I do switch those on in just a moment, but this is the shot, as you can see, without any artificial lighting. This is with natural light. It's a little bit dark. You can't quite see the layers or the textures. You can't quite see the fish that are further back into the shoal. Just looking at my surroundings here, very important of course to make sure you know where you are in the water column, what's beneath you, making sure you're not kicking anything. And here I am now switching on the lights, these artificial lights on the side of the camera. You'll see these as very kind of just red on this shot, but they're creating a natural artificial light basically. So now you'll see the difference with having these lights switched on. So I hit it again, and now you can see the shimmering on the scales of each fish, and that's my light bouncing off of the fish, and it adds a nice little dimension, a nice little texture to the way that they look. Again, you can see the difference in the color as well, with what's quite close to what's quite far. Quite far back is still quite a blue washout. That's me there adjusting the zoom. So the zoom is also on the left-hand side, and I've basically just done the same shot there, one close in and one far back. And the reason for that is sequence. Sequence is super, super important. It's no good having a whole bunch of really perfect shots that look exactly the same. It's really important. There you go, there's another one further back now. To get more of a storyline, you're gonna need more of a sequence. That means having different kinds of shots to put all together. Using one-handed there at the moment, you can see I'm doing all I can to try and keep the camera as steady as possible. Shaky video is a killer, and the thing that will mean that your footage is unusable. Still looking around a lot, making sure I know where I am, what's around me, where the fish are. Keep an eye as well on my depth on the bottom right-hand corner, which has gone from 25 now down to 27. Much closer now to the fish. This is in a marine protected area in a place called El Toro. These barracuda are very used to divers. There's no fear or any sense of being timid. So you can get very close to them, as I'm doing here, and you can see they're really not that interested in me being there. So it's now my responsibility to make sure that I'm treating them with respect and not getting too close, not just swimming straight into them, but actually being alongside them. And I find in those situations, they're actually far more likely to just carry on doing their thing, and you get a much more natural shot. That's me then playing with the aperture on the bottom right-hand corner there, which is controlling the depth of field. You can see me now positioning the camera. We're now looking almost straight up. Again, keep an eye on my depth. We're now dropping again down to 29. This is probably my favorite shot of them all. Much more silhouetted. You can see like the needle shapes of the fish all pointing in different directions, moving around quite a lot. You can actually see my dive buddy in the background there as well. So this is kind of moment to moment, step by step, how thinking about framing, thinking about positioning. Again, check the depth. We're now down at 30 meters, so we've dropped 5 meters just in those few moments. There goes, there's me checking my dive computer, which I have attached to the side of my camera to make me more inclined to check it. I actually had quite a good idea at this, in that moment, how deep I was, because I knew how deep I was when I first encountered them, and also you can feel it, the thermocline. You can see the temperature is now just less than 20 degrees, so I could feel when it was getting colder, and I knew then the kind of depth that I was at. But that is really important to be aware of, is how your depth is changing when you are focused, when you are in the zone, looking at an animal and trying to think about framing your shots, is what's happening to my depth right now. A lot of people use depth alarms and things like that, but that is really, really important to consider, and you'll see I'm now starting to come back up again. So that was just a very quick snapshot into getting a few shots of the Barracuda as naturally as possible, trying to get different angles, different framing to eventually put together a sequence. I'm now starting to ascend. As you can see, the depth is now coming up, and I don't think I'm going to get any more shots of them, so I'm just kind of gradually leaving them to it. And here is a very quick rundown, a very quick sequence of how it ends up looking. In fact, I think I do get another shot? Maybe I do. That was me zooming out there. No, I've decided that's enough of that. So yes, here's a very quick rundown, a very quick sequence of all those shots put together. Once you add in things like slowing it down, color grading, stabilization, cropping, and maybe even a little bit of music, this is what comes from those few minutes of gathering images.